What is this large mass of crap you're seeing? Oh, that's body filler. Oh yeah, look at that. Tasty. It's kind of like a hot rod biscuit. But this area here needs to be cut out and re-welded in. This side over here, this one's solid. And most importantly, the perches here for the leaf springs are good. Here you can see someone had actually tried patching it in with fiberglass, so that's got to go. You can see the top of the gas tank through that Swiss cheese. It's been kind of patched, but badly, so I'm gonna have to replace the trunk pan or repair it, we'll see. We get the Roadrunner jacked up, put some jack stands underneath it, get a little more space to work, and pull out the gas tank, cut out the rest of the trunk floor pan, get the new one welded in here, and make any repairs here on the frame rails. Bringing her up. Gonna remove the trunk as well, give myself some more room to work here. Positive note, the trunk lid's probably one of the better ones I've ever seen. No real rust or rot around all the typical spots, usually down underneath here where the latch is. It's pretty bad, but this one's in really great shape. One plus side about this car, we got a little more room to work. Gas tank is out, trunk lid is off. Getting the bumper out, and nope. It's a girl. Got a little more room to work in here now. Get the rest of this thing cut out. The last person that did this trunk welded this thing in super crooked. This thing's pretty torqued, so I think we'll be getting a new one. Clean all this up, weld that side up, nice and neat against it. So I've reached a stopping point for the day. I'm gonna have to come through this whole frame rail, clean the inside of it out. Non-vented fuel tank like this is, it's got positive pressure with the cap on it still. Just start pouring out the back. I think I pulled this tank out. Look at all the crap floating around the bottom of this thing. Disgusting. I noticed the car was really stumbling at like 40-50 miles an hour and above. Probably got a bunch of crap gummed up in the carburetor. Look at all the stuff floating around in the fuel. And I had filled this tank up from nearly empty to full, and this is still the amount of crap in it. Damn. So I am repairing these frame rails and the inside of the trunk support here on this 69 Roadrunner that I'm working on. About to come through here with the wire brush, clean all this up, clean the inside of the frame rail out, and then I'm going to weld patches and correct all these holes and the damage in the frame rail itself. And once that's all finished and cleaned up, I'll put a rust encapsulator on it and seal it up and protect it from further rusting. So I'm working on cutting out all this bad area here, the frame rail. I'm going to weld in new metal, clean up the inside too. This whole section is pretty much going to get replaced. And yeah, we'll take it from there. I know I get people concerned about my health and safety all the time, so thank you. I appreciate it. Good to go this time. So I'm going to re-weld in this structural piece here, like that, clean up all the inside, rust encapsulate it, and then weld a whole new section of metal here around the outside. Alright, that whole bad section is now cut out, and I can clean all this inside, weld this new support piece in the middle, and then weld a whole new set of metal on the outside. This whole section is really bad too, so I think I'm going to pull this piece off, weld new metal behind it, then recreate that and put it back on. So I removed this rear bumper support area because this was really torched, and I'm going to refabricate sections of this piece here, this corner piece, weld it back in, and now I can also patch in this area that I had to cut out that was really bad. Got everything else in here pretty cleaned up, and I just got to cut or make the new pieces to patch in on the frame rail now. Gonna have to set up my badass MiG 175 up here with my extension cord and get this thing run all the way outside the garage into the other garage so we can weld up that frame rail. Welder is set up. Let's get this bad girl tacked in. Before you weld, you of course want to have clean surfaces, so I'm going to go through and just grind down all these areas here where I'm going to be welding along. Get us clean metal. Same thing here. Before I start welding, I usually spray this weld aid right in the tip. It helps prevent all that slag from getting stuck in there and building up inside your welds. And there it is to start off. You gotta refine everything. I'm making a template to remake one of these brackets that I had to remove out of this section. So here I'm gonna take this and create one out of steel. And I'm just gonna use the bench vise to bend it into the shape I need. Made my first bend, now for number 2. Just manually, like that, boom. Now, got a nice bracket. Need to get more weld through primer, but for now I'm just gonna paint right here along the edge that's gonna get welded and then sand off after, so this way there's no bare metal just sitting in there unprotected. Just let this dry here for a minute and then I'll get that welded in. Bracket is dry, let's get it in. All right, let's weld this thing in. I just made this patch piece to go nicely right here. Now I'm gonna use some cardboard and create a stencil so I can make that patch. Now as you trace this, obviously it was smaller on the inside of the actual hole. You know, you're moving on the inside, it's smaller than the tip. So now on the reverse side, when we trace the outside around this stencil, it should put us at the exact size we need to fit that hole. So now as we're going on the outside of the cardboard, it should put us right where we need it to be at the size of the stencil. Now we'll just cut this out. There we go. And as an initial mock-up, that's pretty good. Now I'm just gonna have to trim it and get it right into shape. Not bad. I kind of missed a little bit here on this corner, but I'll get that filled in during welding. Kind of get it set like that. But overall, that'll work pretty good. So my main MIG welder failed me, and I'm using my flux core right now, but it still did a pretty decent job getting this thing welded up. And now I can clean that up. And I'm gonna stick another reinforcement brace here in the middle just to further strengthen these frame rails. Well, that doesn't look too bad. Welded up. Added these structural braces on the inside too to add more strength. Pretty happy with it. This looks good here too. Eastwood's Platinum Rust Encapsulator going in. Let's keep these frame rails nice and protected. Now that looks really nice. Now this metal is far more protected. Put some rust encapsulator back here. Looks so much better. Protected.